we've just been chatting about any memories that you had of being.
I haven't got a lot, but I was 16 when the flood, and I worked in Clapton, and I'd come home on the last bus, and I lived in Churchfield Road. Walking down Churchfield Road, I could see water coming up. So I got home and woke my parents up, and we had to move upstairs and get as much furniture because it was going upstairs. Very bad. That's one thing.
What kind of time was that? What kind of time were you walking down the road? So you just got back from
Almost 11.
Yeah. So it was coming up from the Mill Lane end?
Yeah, coming from the where Titchmarsh is. Remember where Titchmarsh is? At the end, facing right down. And it was coming up there from the backwaters.
When you say coming up, what do you mean? It was kind of, you could just see it?
Oh yes, yeah, you could see it.
Going into the houses or just into the
Well, as I say, we lived on the back, and it came into the houses, and you could always, for years and years, you could always smell the salt water. And that was that. And my husband, he was in lifeboat crew in those days, and he always said, people now would never believe it. Him and Jonas Oxley, the coxswain, took the rowing boat up to the church, launched it, rowed down Kirby Road, and took the people, Mr. and Mrs. Thornley, that lived as you come out of the car park, bungalow there.
Low Point, yeah.
And there they were sitting on the table, and they took them out the windows and rowed them up to the church.
Do you remember that evening? Did you go to sleep that night, or were you kind of up all night looking out the window? And then you got up in the morning and went out and saw what was going on? And did you walk around Walton and do you remember what you saw?
Well, yes and no. It was, well, you just couldn't believe it. So they were my two, but as I say, Terry always used to say, nobody'd ever believe it, rowing down Kirby Road. Anyway, so it shows you how bad it was.
And my great aunt lived just near Bridge Cottage, and Chris Keeble's parents lived there, and a guy from Sound and Vision, his parents lived in a cottage. My great aunt was in a little cottage called Tower View, because she could obviously see the Martello Tower. And she was evacuated, but I was 11, and we were living in Walton Road, so we were well out of it. And she'd just had an operation on her feet, so she was unable to walk. And she was rescued, possibly by another rescue from Derek and Jonas. And they brought her up to our house on the Walton Road, where she stayed for weeks, possibly months. And it became just almost like an adventure for we children coming home, and she was obviously distressed. But going back to her little cottage, which wasn't sound, it was so damp, but she insisted on going back, lighting a fire. And it absolutely stank. It was awful. That's all I remember, the smell.
Again, did you walk around Walton and see other places that were affected?
I was at Clapton County Army, and I had to go to school. And there were stories, but nobody believed us because there were only a couple of us from Walton.
What did everyone do? Did they turn on the news? Like, how did you know what was going on?
Well, I think it was more like, well, obviously, instant grapevine.
That's true.
People coming up the road, and my father, of Oxley, had to go back to work in a high street, and there was water there to come up through Mill Lane. And it was horrendous.
Because my family Halls had boatyard, and of course that was absolutely flooded, terrible. Because then after that they put the gates, didn't they? The floodgates.
Did a few things get destroyed? Were boats destroyed?
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. hell of a lot of boats destroyed.
Were there houseboats at the time down here as well?
Yes, there was. Yes.
And they were moved around?
I can't remember, I'm afraid.
Well, they survived, didn't they, the boats?
Yeah, they did
They were
survive.
there until the 60s.
60s, wasn't it? Yes.
How long did it take for the waters to go down? So you said that there was water in Kirby Road with the rowboats, but then how long did it stay for?
I don't know, really. Taken some time, I would have thought.
And the sludge and the muck.
Yes, muck.
Silt.
Horrible.
Yeah.
And you didn't move out. You had to live in the house that you were living in Churchfield Road.
No, we didn't move out. No, just had to eventually clear everything up. But as I say, the smell was, well, all the walls had to be redone and that, but it was awful.
And did you have to chuck away a load of furniture and carpet?
Yes. All the carpets had to go.
How high did it get in the house?
I should have said nearly a quarter way up the stairs, which is quite a bit.
Yeah, and if you were awake during the night watching it, you would have been getting a bit worried.
Think of how dark, because we didn't have lots of light.
No, that's true.
And cold.
No central heating in those days.
And the electrics would have gone with the flooding.
Yes, of course.
So it'd have been
And
candlelight if you got it.
That's it.
Because people lost a lot of their photographs, their books, their sort of their family possessions and stuff as well. didn't
Oh
they?
yes, yeah.
Today you'd hear more, there'd be more publicity, and I don't even know if there was a local immunity fund, or whether people were.
I think there was something. Got a feeling my parents saying that there was something. They did get some help.
There were several things going on. Lord Mayor of London started a fundraising, and he raised many hundreds of thousands. And there was people sending stuff over from abroad. I remember helping my dad with somebody from Finland sent a thing full of carpets over. And they give everybody a new carpet in Jaywick. There was lots of.
Yeah, I think there
was.
You know, a long time ago. 70 years ago. Right. What did Trevor have to say then?
More or less what you all said, that his dad was out in Thingy,
Yeah.
that he rode down to
Thorpe.
Kirby Road, down by the cart bridge. That's what he remembers. Well, somebody a tale that's been handed on to him.
Handed on.
And they were rowing down the road checking people were all right? Is that what they were doing? Or just kind of just seeing what was going on?
Well,
or?
I think they
Well, they would have known mostly where everybody was.
was. In those days, everybody knew everybody.
Yes, it was a
didn't
small
they?
town and
Let's be
everybody knew
honest.
everybody.
And I think quite a few of the lifeboat crew went out, helping people. Yeah.
Mike, were you in Thorpe at the time, did you say?
Yes.
And what do you remember?
We didn't know much about it at all in the morning, and I was in the Thorpe Church choir, went along to the service at 11 o'clock, and when we were changing into our choir robes, one or two boys said, "Have you heard about the bad floods?" No. So we said, well, after the service, we'll go down Landermere Road, which we did, Landermere Road, leading to Landermere. And when we got to the brink of the hill, we just couldn't believe our eyes, because all the land that was fields was a big lake, and we just could not believe it. And that sight has always remained with me, but that's all we knew. We didn't know about it in advance, but we had to find out ourselves. And then when I got home and told my dad being the person he was, said, "Right, boy, we'll go down to Jaywick and see what it looks like down there." And I remember going down the Jaywick lane towards to Jaywick, and that picture emerged of everything was underwater up to the end of Gold Spring Road. so those two images have always remained with me. But we didn't have any direct involvement, but that's, there was, as Jean said, no local radio or anything like that in those days. But obviously the national news began to talk about where things were worse, yes.
And did you get the sense that people were doing that? The word was getting inland a little bit, and then people were coming out from Thorpe and Kirby and...
Yes. And then time the paper came out, of course. I gave Sonny my copy of the East Essex Gazette. That had about 16 pages of coverage, so it was well covered. In those days, things were well covered by the
Not now.
Okay, Michael.
But Harry, you reckoned that Canvey Island got most of the national attention.
It did in all the papers, if you look at all the papers. In fact, Canvey Island, there's a lot of people drowned there, I forget how many, 100 or but Jaywick was still, the percentage of people that lived in Jaywick, it was still a higher percentage of people drowned in Jaywick than Canvey Island. Although Canvey Island, I think, not in the papers there, 100 odd drowned in Canvey. But it was a big island and there was a lot of people there. I don't know what the percentage blah 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 was, but I know Jaywick's percentage was very high.
And Jean, did you? How were the families around you affected? Were they affected in the same way?
Yeah, all along the Churchill Road, they were all the same. Yes, yeah.
Well, anywhere else in Walton?
Well, it's Sandy Road, wasn't it?
Canada Cottages. wasn't
Canada
it?
Cottages,
Yeah.
that must have been. It was
Sandy
terrible
Road.
down
Yeah.
Sandy Road. Yeah.
And the school obviously was surrounded by
Yes,
floods.
yeah.
And immediately after that, the Essex Education Committee said, we'll have to rebuild the school. It's enough, once that happened, we can't let it happen again. And they had plans to rebuild the school somewhere, but those plans never ever came off. Fortunately, the sea walls were built up to help protect it more, but they never ever rebuilt Walton Primary School. But it moved from where it was to the old secondary school.
School,
Yeah.
didn't it?
Yeah. But it's still in what was a floodplain area.
Were the children moved up to the high street?
Yes.
Yeah, they went into
Oh,
the
went up to the library.
the library, didn't
Yeah.
That's where I went to school.
Yes.
they? You went to school then?
Yeah, when it was flooded, we then went to school at the
How long
library.
did you go there for?
I haven't got a clue. I remember being up there for some time, but I wouldn't be able to tell it how long it was.
Walton Secondary School, did it actually close for a time because of the flood?
I was in the junior school at the time, so I take it the secondary school did the same.
Yes.
And we were relocated, the junior school was relocated to where the library is now.
Yes.
I don't know what happened to the secondary school.
Well, I think some of the secondary school came to other schools, because I was at Rolf School, Thorpe, and some of those children came to our school.
All right.
And with the teachers, I remember Lou Broom, he came to Thorpe for a little while, and there was another teacher, can't remember the name of. But
Not Will's, Harry.
Martin.
Yeah.
Martin, yes,
Harry
yes,
Martin.
Harry Martin and Lou Broom, yes. And so the children were spread around amongst the primary schools to give them somewhere to, because the secondary school was, badly flooded. And
I think in the memories it said it might have
Where's your
been up
boy?
to... Oh yeah.
It's your boy.
What did it all?
In the memories it said that they thought that maybe the school was shut for about 5 or 6 weeks.
Oh, really?
And then that's how long you might have been in the library for.
I think that's probably about right. I can remember being up there.
And then when they went back to the old place, again, it was like it was in a real mess. It smelt. I suppose if you think about it, it would have been then going into the spring and the Easter.